Before we begin the meeting tonight, in accordance with board policy, I do need to announce that we do have one speaker tonight. It will be Angela Leiter, and speaking to a non-agenda item. So call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell? Ms. Roulette? Yes. Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes, next item will be the moment of silence. Mr. Denton.
We didn't get any voting buttons on that.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. All right, we'll go ahead. As we begin this meeting, let us pause for a 60-second moment of silence to reflect, meditate, pray, or engage in other silent activity. Thank you.
Okay, next item will be the Pledge of Allegiance by our board clerk, Ms. Brandy Roulette.
Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next item will be the board meeting minutes from previous meeting. Any discussion?
Nope.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell? Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
And Mr. Allen?
Yes,
We don't have any voting buttons. That's okay.
Did it work now?
it's probably Ollie's fault.
Keeps flickering like it's trying.
So it's okay. We'll just record them manually. Next item, number 5, Ms. James.
Good evening, President Allen, the board, and Dr. Vinson. I am here this evening to, gotta make sure I'm in order, I apologize, to present for your recommendation and approval the hiring of Tamitha Ogilvy as our assistant principal for Sequoia Middle School. Tamitha, of course, has been a great addition. She's been a teacher for us. She originally started her teaching in 2001 in Collinsville, moved with us in 2007, and she taught Business Law 1 and 2. She became a really teacher leader. She led a lot of our PLCs. She worked with teachers to support their curriculum and just the overall development of those. In 2020, as we began to focus on attendance and chronic absenteeism and supporting students, she actually stepped in to help support the admin and was one of the teachers to help lead that. She helped support that, reach out to parents, make several phone calls, and really began to represent almost an assistant principal at that point. So at this time, we really see that she'll be a great asset to us at the Sequoia. I know Ms. Johnson has reached out. She's really excited about what she can bring to the table, the experience she already has. So we're really looking forward to her filling this position. So we would just ask that you would approve her hiring at this time.
Questions or discussion?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
And Mr. Allen?
Yes. She here?
She is. Miss Ogilvy, would you please stand and?
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm excited for this challenge and new adventure. I have with me tonight my husband Scott, my son Caleb, his fiance Britton. The wedding's actually Friday night.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations.
And my grandson Grady.
Aw,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
So much.
They're there.
We got best of luck.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, number 6. Ms. James.
Okay, at this time, I would like to put forward for your recommendation and for hiring of Mr. Ryan Grant. He has been with us since 2014. He's been our band director at Sequoia Middle School. Before that, he was a director of bands at another school district in, let me just say, it's Victory Christian School at another district. He is looking forward because we really feel like what he's bringing to the table is the teaching piece that he has, the experience he has. In addition to that, just the leadership and the ability for him to build positive relationships with kids. We're excited because this is our a first time we've really, since we've been hiring someone who's in fine arts, and we feel like they bring a lot to the table. So it's exciting for that. I would like to add that when Mrs. Graves began looking and interviewing, Miss Johnson reached out to her because she's like, I really feel Mr. Grant has what you're looking for, for Centennial. So at this time, we would ask that you would recommend his hire and that we're going to transition him from the band director to our assistant principal at Centennial Middle School.
Make a
Just
motion.
Real quick, is it an intern or is it an assistant principal?
The first year he'll be as an intern. Yes.
Okay, just
Sorry
making
about-
sure
I apologize.
the
Yeah.
way we make the
Yeah.
motion.
Mhm.
Just make it legal, so you
Yeah, I appreciate
don't get him in
just
trouble.
clarifying.
Okay.
Gotcha. Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
And Mr. Allen?
Yes. Is he here this evening?
Yes, he is. There's Mr. Grant. Thank you.
I'd like to first thank Ms. Johnson. I appreciate you very much. And I've learned much at my time at Sequoia and excited to move on to Centennial. I have with me my wife Kara and my 2 little ones, Poppy and Sawyer. And I'm really looking forward to having somebody in fine arts on that.
There you go, good.
And I'm sure my other counterparts will say the same. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you look outstanding tonight. I like that suit.
I'm dressed the part, right?
There you go. Look outstanding. Congratulations, you and your family.
Something's going on with my system here.
Ollie, can you come help Mr. Denton real quick? Yeah, he screwed it up.
And he's a computer guy too, isn't he?
I know. Our only IT guy on the board he's messed it up.
You know, as soon as he walks up here, it's
It's
gonna
gonna
be right.
fix.
Mine's working fine.
I have no problems.
It's a PEPCAC problem.
No
Problem exists between
problems.
keyboard and chair.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just not refreshing here.
Wow.
You just had to touch the mouse.
Thank you, Ollie. Okay, next item.
Push a button.
Mr. Blackburn, good evening.
Thank you. Is that on? Mr. Allen, Board, and Dr. Vincent, it's my privilege to bring to you tonight a new position over our Director of Social, Emotional, and Health Services, Ms. Rachel Kaiser. Ms. Kaiser comes to us, actually she's been at Creekwood for the past 4 years. She has 22 years of experience, 17 of those in administration. She graduated from Northeastern State University with her bachelor's and then a master's degree at the University of North Texas. I can tell you that we had 4 outstanding candidates, and I'm just pleased to see that not only did we already have her in the district, that we were able to elevate her to this position. I can also say that I'm sure that her family at Creekwood is going to miss her. However, we are keeping a star in the district. So therefore, I'd like to bring your attention, Ms. Kaiser, for your approval.
Questions or discussion?
Make a motion to approve?
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Mr. Blackburn, is she here?
Yes, she is, right here in the back.
I just want to say I'm so incredibly grateful for this opportunity, and it is a little bittersweet tonight. I know that the time will come when, I'll get to tell our teachers and they'll learn, the change is coming, but, I know that we will receive an incredible leader, and I will work really hard.
I'd also like to add that she has a fourth grader in our district, and so she's very invested, let's put it that way.
Ms. Kaiser, we're excited for you. We're very appreciative, Dr. Vincent, of the commitment to this position. It's been the board's goal to increase services in this area, and we're committed as a board, and we'll wish you the very best, and just know that you have our support, as well as all the others. But the mental health has really been something board's committed to, and providing those services to our students in our district, so. Next item, number 8. Ms. Peterson, how are you?
I'm great, and good evening, President Allen, Dr. Vincent, and members of the board. I am so excited to come to you tonight with a recommendation to serve as an assistant principal for one of our elementaries. Right now, it looks like it is going to be Leisure Park, based on numbers and also their special education numbers. But we are recommending Carrie Cody. Miss Cody served as an elementary teacher for 15 years at Rhodes Elementary. And for the past 3 years, she has been at Arrowhead Elementary as a math interventionist. I must also mention that she is a BA grad. She was a Teacher of the Year at Arrowhead this year and one of our top 5 finalists. At Arrowhead, she has served as the lead teacher and RTI lead. She is presently in our Aspiring Administrators Academy. She has served on numerous district committees. She served as a mentor for new teachers. I cannot think of a better candidate to take on the challenge of being a first-year intern assistant principal. And so I'm asking that you approve this recommendation tonight.
Discussion or questions?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette? Yes. Mr. Denton?
Yes.
And Mr. Allen?
Yes.
And
Is she here this evening?
She is here with her family.
There with my family, I've got this whole row. This is my son Drew at the end, he's in 4th grade in Broken Arrow, and this is my husband Ben of 19 years. This is my daughter Paige, she's a senior at Broken Arrow High School. This is Kai, he is actually at Centennial, he'll be a 7th grader. This is my son Connor, he's going to be a sophomore at the high school. This is my mom, Luann Parker, she's a current retiree of 30 years. Just am excited, overjoyed, and very, very grateful for this opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you and your family. And thank your mother for all her service at Broken Arrow. Thank you.
Mr. Allen, if you don't mind, just a moment.
Sure.
You know, as we watch all of these new hires in these administrative positions, we don't ever want to be known as the district that we don't want outsiders in our administrative roles. But as we see all these hires, they're all internal candidates, which is a wonderful thing. It just shows you that, you know, Carla's team and everyone's team is doing such a great job growing our teachers internally into these administrative roles. It makes, you know, the mama heart in me really proud. And it just tells me that we're doing a really good job, and we're creating that culture where people do feel good about growing in their positions and want to stay here and continue growing their positions if they want to. Not that you want to continue growing and move out of a teaching position, because Honestly, I would love to go back to the classroom. It was where I was probably most happy, but it does make me really proud that we continue to grow our teachers and grow our administrators into new roles. I just want to say, thank you to Carla and your team that you continue pouring into our teachers and our administrators, and thank you to each of you for taking that leap and trusting us. So congratulations, and congratulations to your families, and thanks for trusting us and staying with us. So congratulations again. Thanks.
Thank you. Next item will be comments from the public. We'll have Ms. Leiter will be speaking. Ms. Leiter, you have 3 minutes. Mr. Denton will be timing you. So.
Good evening, Dr. Vinson, President Allen, and board members. I'm Angela Leiter. I'm a parent of 2 Broken Arrow students here. I'm here tonight simply to ask about the reentry plan, any federal funds that may or may not have been accepted over last year and in the years to come, what strings were attached to those federal funds to be used over the next few years, and how the new state law impacts a district being able to use those funds. I think there was some confusion over the survey link that popped up on the district's website earlier this month. No one had even been notified about it. When a friend noticed and several parents emailed the board members about it, there seemed to be quite some confusion. A simple email or a phone message could have been utilized to contact all of the parents, just like we are notified when bad weather closes school, but that is if our input was really desired. Then there were 2 knee-jerk emails that came out the same day that it made it more confusing to us. So the survey is still up, but it's very unclear if we're submitting input on the plan that was currently on the website or last year's plan. The link is still there. And so I just was curious if there's a committee that's been meeting and if they're discussing next year's plan based on these survey results. It was a very simple survey. I haven't found anything that lists how much the district has received in federal funds, if we have, and what categories it has to be spent on. I work for a federal agency. I understand the categories and how it has to be spent in certain ways. And what about the partnership that is recently announced with St. Francis for the vaccines? Was that a requirement as well from those receiving federal funds? It's great to receive additional funding, but if the strings attached go against what the new state law is, and it's about school masks and vaccine requirements, how will that work? Do you have to return it? So I'm just a mom here trying to learn how all this works, and I have kids, and so based on your decisions that impact our family and our school district, it just makes me more invested in wanting to learn more about how that works. I appreciate the work that you do. You have a lot, considering all the parties involved and all those decisions to be made. So just a little transparency goes a long way for us parents. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda will be the general consent agenda items 11 through 49. Any discussion?
Make a motion to approve?
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Ruette? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Here we go. Next item, Ms. James.
Good evening again, board. I want to touch base with you guys this evening about our MOU that I have before you guys. I know you've looked at the contract. It's really an agreement about the space and the accommodations that we're receiving and using at Northeastern State University here in our backyard. I first want to preface this with saying that I feel like it's a celebration at this point. The reason we're having to come back and present this is that we're growing. So just every year we've grown. We started out the first year with 140 students who were 9th and 10th graders who joined early college high school. The next year we moved up into almost 200. This year we're at 311. In addition to those early college high school students that we're taking on, we also house, and a lot of people don't realize this, all of our students who are doing concurrent enrollment, those courses take place in early, at NSU. And so we are using their facility. We're taking up their space. We're using the Riverhawk Cafe, where there's a whole lot of things that we're doing. So it came to a point where they're like, hey, we want to be a partner. They had provided us almost, what are we in our second or third year at no cost, that they've just opened their doors for us. And have been a great partner. Anything we've needed, they provided. They give free items to our students. They allow them access. I could go on, just what a great partner they've been. But this past spring, they kind of said, hey, you know, with the amount of students that we're trekking through and stuff like that, it is starting to take, it's affecting the wear and tear of our carpet, of our buildings, things like that. We actually live in the entire business and technology building, both floors. They've offered their office space, every classroom we use. In addition to that, we've moved into their banquet hall, where they used to previously, prior to us coming in, rented that out for additional funds. So now our kiddos are going in there when it's raining. They're indoors eating, they're indoor working. Our kids are in concurrent enrollment. They meet as groups and collaboratively work out and about the college. So I understand. I mean, I wasn't offended, and I know when their president reached out to Dr. Turner, I know that it was like, we understand. We're using it, our kids are using it, and we know how kids are. So the outline in itself for the total is $134,473. I did kind of want to outline for you just a little bit of what that encompasses for us. For them, the banquet hall rental of what they've lost over the past years, each year, they earn about $52,000, give or take on that. So we're gonna rent the hall, that banquet hall from them. The carpeting, they go in half and half with us, so we're paying $4,000. They're gonna meet the other $4,000. Also, the carpet replacement in the classrooms, they again will meet half of that with us. In 10 years, they said about 10-year wear is what they're gonna get from that. So our part for that would be $5,000. Utilities, rent, electric, heat, all those good things that we pay would be $32,000, a little over that. Wi-Fi, a one-time to add additional support for our Chromebooks. So they're going to go in and reinforce their infrastructure for our internet so that our kids don't get dropped or cut off from the internet. That's going to cost them almost $8,162. It's a one-time fee for us. So once we pay that, we'll have it covered in the future years. And in addition, they offered us two things with a custodial. They offered us the option of us providing and hiring a custodian, or they would provide the custodian and charge us $32,000 for that. I think after the team met, I think it was, in the long run, it was least expensive route to just say, you'll provide the custodial, we'll pay that $32,000. So that brought us to a total of around $134,473. So I, at this time, ask that you just kind of approve or disapprove, or ask, I can clarify anything that you need from me regarding the MOU.
Now, will this be something that we do year over year each time?
It'll just, though, so some of those are one time.
Understood.
Yeah, but
Due to the one-time charges or 10-year charge or understood.
I think the custodial, the banquet hall, and those pieces that we're paying for the carpet, instead of one bulk fee at the end saying, hey, you owe us $25,000 for this carpet, they're kind of letting us pay it out in installments throughout each year, is how I see that when we visited with them. But yeah, I look for us to, it'd probably be around that same cost.
Well, and that type of experience is such an incredible opportunity that Broken Arrow gets to offer our students, and so for 300 plus and continuing to grow.
Yeah.
Great investment.
And there's probably another 100, 150, I would say, they're doing concurrent enrollment courses who are outside of the early college. We've just housed them there now with the, because that's what TCC and NSU has worked out too. We'll allow your kids to go to our campus, take our TCC courses there, and then, it works out for our kiddos.
So I was going to point out, when we did our high school configuration, that was one of the goals, I remember, is to get close to 500 students that were off the high school campus that were experiencing in an early college high school. We're almost there already, and we're only in year 3. So that's an amazing accomplishment to already hit that goal in year 3. And I think we'll hit that in second semester. I think we'll be there.
I think so too. I think the way we're recruiting, and just now we've built capacity within our community. We've built capacity with families that they understand that the advantages to being there. And I think with our goal and our plan with the pathways, this really is one of our first pathways, because we said if you want to go to college in your first generation or you need support, this is a pathway for you. And I think we're getting the right students there. When TCC was talking, and they had a program with our neighbor, Union, about went blank. With Union, one of the things is they will only allow students who are met certain criteria. We're in certain at-risk subgroups. We opened ours, under Dr. Vincent, we were like, no, and with you guys, we're like, no, this is open to anybody. We're not gonna say you have to meet this, or that. We opened the doors. But when we did that, ironically, it moved the right kids there. It did move first-gen kids, those kiddos whose parents haven't gone to college and don't understand and are scared about that process, and their kids are able to learn how college works. They are prepared for that. They do this ongoing orientation, and parents get to dip their water or their toes into the water, so to speak, so that when they move those little chicks on out to college, they have a better understanding. Kids understand how Blackboard works. They understand how I advocate for myself and reach out and use the resources available to me. So.
With the money, you brought up, maybe this might be a Natalie question or something, but, are we legally able to purchase carpet at NSU? And, because we can't surplus it if we spent money on it. We can't, and infrastructure, so,
So it's just part of the rental agreement.
Okay.
We're paying.
And however they spend the money is up to them, but that's just part, okay. That's why I was,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I was hoping. So, all right.
I just wanted to outline for you guys, just so you knew,
No,
I
I-
want to be a good steward, make sure that the agreement that we made is that you approve of and that you're okay with that, so.
Nice.
All right. Any questions? Okay.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, Ms. Enoff.
Good evening, President Allen, Dr. Vinson, members of the board. The activity funds report as of June 30th, 2021, and the activity funds receipts total $3,743,000, disbursements total $3,725,000, with an ending cash balance of $4,011,000.
All right.
The next item for the treasurer's report, cash balances report reflect a total of $102,731,000 in assets. The investment ledgers show a district investment total of $76,470,000, and the collateral report shows a total of $35,567,000 in collateral pledged to Broken Arrow Public Schools. The total deposits requiring collateral are $30,340,000, leaving an available balance of collateral in the amount of $5,226,000.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, next item.
Good evening. Have for you tonight the encumbrance reports for the period of time July 1st through July 15th, 2021. And these total encumbrances are $1,693,362.22.
Questions or discussion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
And Mr. Allen?
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Ms. Enoff.
So what I'd like to do tonight, since we are past June 30th, just kind of recap the year for the board. It's been a fast and furious year, and a lot has happened. And so I think it's important to take a moment to kind of reflect and look back on what has happened with our financial picture. So in general fund, we started out the year almost about a year ago, actually, with the news that our initial allocation had been cut $2.5 million. So that's how we started off school year 21 with a $2.5 million cut. Fast forward to January of 2021, and that cut had grown to $7.3 million loss in state aid. All this while we were being notified that our ad valorem collections, which, as you know, we share property in both Tulsa and Wagner County, that one of the largest taxing entities in Wagner County had filed formal suit over their 2020 taxes and were filing protest taxes during that time. The reason why that's so important to us is because ad valorem makes up over 50% of the district's revenue, and we typically collect at about a 97 to 98% collection rate. So while that source of revenue is very stable for us, anytime that happens, it puts our financial picture in jeopardy because we know those taxes are being protested, and while we are not being paid on the assessment value that has been certified by the excise board, those taxes are actually being held in an escrow account while the court proceedings continue to happen. And so you can see, looking at the graph, the disparity in our state aid allocation. Our ad valorem did continue to grow even in the midst of that protest valuation. We continued to grow in other areas in our residential and that kind of thing. And the big outlier you can see is in our federal source of funding. The one-time federal stimulus funds that were approved by both President Trump and President Biden have started to come into the district as one-time funds. We are following the prescriptive plan to receive those funds and to account for them for the district. So I think it's really important that while we do not know what our initial midterm allocation will be for FY22, we did start off with $2.5 million loss out of the gate last year. We were hoping those state funds will be restored through the formula as our legislators promised they would by passing the budget of putting $110 million back into the budget, but as of today, we have not seen that notification. May I answer any questions about general fund?
Ellie, where would we be, remove the federal funds from last year?
We would be in a negative fund balance.
Do you know what that number would be?
I'm sorry, not a negative fund balance, but we would have dipped into the fund balance had we not received those federal funds.
Do you know approximately about how much that would be?
What, probably close to $5 million,
Okay.
give or take. Our ad valorem did make up a little bit of ground that we had lost, but losing $7.3 million in 1 year, that basically accounted for 2 years of raises that were funded by the legislature the past 2 years to support the teacher pay raise have been taken away from us.
And how much did you anticipate from the federal dollars, the one-time monies?
Last year, we claimed a little over $7 million in those funds.
Okay. Thank you.
Again, the important part is that once these one-time federal funds go away, our state funding will be back to where it needs to be to adequately support the mandates that have been put in place for us.
Okay, any questions?
Ending fund, again, ad valorem, you can see is the major source of revenue in that fund, up a tiny bit from where we were a year from now. And child nutrition, again, you can see the change between federal and local sources. The federal monies definitely overpowered our local source with the change in free lunch for kids. General fund expenditures, we had a very conservative year in spending. We chose to try and maintain operations without making any drastic cuts to our programs and people, and I think we did a very good job of staying within the lines of what we were comfortable spending. We did not, just because of the unstable nature that we knew we were heading into with COVID, enrollment numbers not being as secure as they have in the past, we stayed very close to previous year spending goals, and we met that. That's very important as a lot of different agencies continue to look at our funding, our expenditures, and with our bond rating and all kinds of different outside agencies. So that's important for them to see the board's commitment to fiscal responsibility, staying within fund balance, staying within our original budget. I didn't have to come and ask the board for a budget adjustment at all last year because we were able to stay within what we had originally come to you guys with back last September. Building fund expenditures pretty much the same. We had some one-time expenditures from the previous year that leveled out. And child nutrition, she did a very good job of anticipating her costs with the dramatic change in her revenue and figuring out ways to make sure she was staying within her fund balance, because what happens is when child nutrition cannot be self-sufficient, that expense is passed to the general fund. And so that's just another thing that general fund could have to account for if child nutrition cannot stay self-sufficient, but she did a very good job with that. And in the coming months, I'll be presenting the board the final ending fund balance. We're still reconciling our cash balances at this point, but at this point, I'm very happy to be able to report a positive fund cash balance, not having to dip into ending fund balance at all because of the conservative and wise decisions of the board. Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you, Natalie. Next item, Mr. Tolomeo.
Good evening, President Allen, Dr. Vincent, members of the board. I'm here to have you guys accept the locker bids for Westwood renovations and then the deductive change order. As we expected, we kind of assigned an allowance to those lockers of $100,000. We've received the bids. They totaled $79,135. So we are taking that savings and we're going to take that back from the contractor, and it'll go back to the bond allocation.
Very good.
Any questions?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
And Mr. Allen?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Tolomeo. Next item, new business, we have none. The next item, 57, is move to executive session.
Make a motion that we move to executive session?
Second that.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
And Mr. Allen?
Yes. Come on, button.
There she is.
I've got her phone number.
The Board of Education, Dr. Janet Benson, Lori Kearns, and Natalie Enith entered into executive session at 6:42 p.m. to discuss the proposed negotiations with the BAEA, Broken Arrow Education Association, pursuant to Oklahoma Statute 25, Section 307B2. Lori Kearns exited at 7:17 p.m. The Board of Education returned to open session at 7:23 p.m. This constitutes the minutes of executive session.
Thank you. Next item will be to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Got a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
And Mr. Allen?
Yes, thank you.
Great job.